Ms. Adams, this matter came up in Parliament during your emergency sitting, and it took a rather unfortunate turn of comparison of who has polluted or destroyed water bodies the most. Was that the best you could do as members of Parliament?
Well, thank you for the opportunity and to be here, and good morning to our viewers and to my constituents especially. And I must say that before I get to the sad note, let me commend Madam Lordina Mahama and her foundation for the great job that they have done in providing healthcare services across the country. And the current thing they did was to build an ultra-modern maternity ward and children's ward for the people of Nkranza at their polyclinic. And I must salute them for that. Whilst people in government are engaged in illegal mining and destroying our water bodies and creating all kinds of ailment for us, and not building health facility to at least even take care of us when we get sick. We have someone who is not in government working so hard to continue to provide healthcare facilities for Ghanaians, because I can benefit from such a facility if I happen to be in that area. And so I join many in commending her for what it is that she is doing. Alfred, you asked a question in relation to what transpired in Parliament, and many of us on that day were so disappointed, and we all took to our we stood up to draw Mr. Speaker's attention that we needed to make a contribution, because this is not the Parliament I want to be in. This is not the Parliament I joined, and this is not the Parliament I read about, and this is not what I expect from members of Parliament who belong to the ruling party. First and foremost, whilst not admitting his statement that is what it was, it is absolutely wrong to suggest that because someone did something that was wrong, you are right if you also repeated it, but possibly in your mind at the lower level. The issue of polluting waters, especially when you are dealing with turbidity levels. If you say lawyer Martin Kpebu polluted this bottle of water and increased the turbidity level to say maybe 1,800. The 1,800 could still possibly be processed. It may not have done total destruction to the water. Then you come and say, lawyer Martin Kpebu added 1,800, and I have just added 1,005. Your 1,005 that you've added have lifted the levels from 1,800, which was manageable, to a level that can no longer be managed. So maybe you may have added less, but your addition is what has destroyed, has made this water useless. So you have a government, and the chief whip's mindset is that you polluted more than we did. But the question is, what we see today, did we see that maybe 8 years or 9 years ago? Did we see this level of destruction of our forests, of our water bodies? The answer straight away is no. But for me, the argument is not about who did more and who did less, but it is what leadership is doing. Look, in countries where leadership is working, Alfred, your own tree that you planted in your home, if you want to cut it, you need the permission of the authority to cut your own tree that you planted. Because that tree is counted as part of the contribution to the ecological balance in the area. And they know the effect of taking down the tree you planted. But in Ghana, we have leadership that decides trees they did not plant, trees that God gave us because they believe that God sleeps in the night. That even God sleeps in the night. That's the position of the NPP and its current leadership, according to Dr. Matthew Opoku, that even God who created the earth for us and everything sleeps in the night, because they believe God sleeps in the night. They decide to destroy what God has given us at the blind side. But you see, you have played the voice of the president about prepared to put his job on the line, and that he said so at cabinet meetings before, and that was the first time he was saying it publicly.
Yes.
How I wish the president didn't make that statement publicly.
Why is that?
Because following that statement, all his appointees and apparatchiks have worked tirelessly to deny the existence of what? Galamsey. And that they are destroying our forests and our water bodies. Because they want to make us believe that the president is still having his job. And the president is having his job because there's no Galamsey. So even if there was, they are trying to tell you it is not there. Because if they accept that it's there, the president's job must be on the line. So they have kept denying the fact that they have contributed to destroying our water bodies, destroying our forests. You remember when Professor Frimpong Boateng did his report and cited the fact that even the president's own home was under attack. Yeah. And he had to move some dozers and the rest to reclaim and vegetate the area.
Well, when that statement was made, the president took the media to his house.
Well, that's where I'm coming to. That is Alfred. If you read the report, he says, we took dozers, reclaim, and vegetate the place. So a place that have been reclaimed and vegetated, were you expecting to see the kind of holes that we see when we go to the normal Galamsey site? The man didn't say we went there and sacked the people and left it at that. In the statement, it is captured that they took dozers there, reclaimed, and vegetated the place back. So if you take the cameras there, you will see green because they have vegetated the place. But that was the evidence that they used to attack Professor Frimpong Boateng, that he was rather peddling falsehood and that nothing like that was happening. Part of the scheme to protect the president, because he's made a public statement that he is prepared to put his job on the line in fighting Galamsey. And since he has failed, and stability levels have jumped from the 2000s where they could manage, or where their machines are designed to manage, to now over 14,000 NTU. Can you imagine? And for a chief whip of the ruling party to be on the floor and listening to statements being made by the Ghana Water Company, the Water Resource Commission, and many other experts, health persons, about reported cases of persons who live within some catchment area, reporting all manner of ailments. What you come to tell us is that someone polluted more than what you have done. But you see, Alfred,
well, in their defense, they say you started that line of defense on the floor of Parliament. And in
I worry a lot when I hear comments like politicians have failed. It is not like lawyer said, the politician is a microcosm of the general society. The politician is not coming from anywhere. It is leadership have failed, and for that matter, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia leadership have failed Ghana.
Yeah.
And let's call them out.
Yes.
And let's not generalize it that politicians have failed. Because even if today we put an independent person as maybe a leader somewhere, if we pick a chief somewhere and put him or her as a leader to play that role, that person could be described as a politician.
Yes.
So it is not about just generalizing and giving them comfort. When we say politicians have failed, we give comfort to this government and their persons who are polluting the waters.
But there is some truth to the fact that politicians have failed.
But there is truth to the fact that, listen, there is truth to the fact that the media in some instances also have collaborated with these persons you are describing as having failed to help in the failure. There is truth also that you have had chiefs who have collaborated with this group of politicians to also make sure that they have. That's why I'm saying that. Let's call them out. We in the NDC, and I can speak so for my party, are more than committed. We have a leader who is very committed to the fight against Galamsey. He has demonstrated it in the past and will do so into the future. And so it is the Nana Addo Bawumia leadership that have completely failed us. Look, lands and our natural resources have invested in the president's hands. He is responsible. He is the commander-in-chief and has every opportunity to use in protecting our lands. And this whole issue of the military getting involved and failing. You see, if you send the military out there to work and you want to allow them to work, they will give you perfect results. But when you send them out there, it's like having a guard dog that you've trained so well. Then now you decide that you chain the dog and you are holding the chain. If the activity the dog is supposed to work on is happening at 200 meters and your chain can only go as far as 50 meters, that dog cannot perform the function you expect it to perform when it is happening around the 200-meter range. What the government has done is to send these people in there and chain them, and they are holding the chain. So they are controlling how far you can go. So you are not allowed to go into an area to be able to operate. Where you go, you are supposed to go and provide protection to protect illegal miners. To the extent that you had a senior minister, and when you are described as senior minister, you are like the prime minister. You are the top of all the ministers. To tell us that there was no gain in prosecuting a Galamsey kingpin, and that Ghana stood not to gain in prosecuting Aisha one because we were looking for something. That was the time Dr. Bawumia had gone there, that he's done some 18 billion or something from China. Where is that money?
Yes.
Where is that money? Phantom money. And we have destroyed our water bodies. That today, babies are being born with deformities at an alarming rate. People are complaining of all kinds of organ failures. Alfred, for those of us who love greens, it is now more dangerous today to eat greens and to eat fruits from some part of the country. Because you will just be taking huge levels of residue that otherwise should not be in your system into your system. In the past, you could guarantee that, okay, if it was just insecticides that have been sprayed, at a certain point, these insecticides would leave the system and you can consume those things. Today, we are talking about arsenic levels that are so high, that are in the soils, that penetrate right from the time you sow all through till it matures. So it becomes part and parcel of the food that you are consuming. So are you surprised that many more persons today are reporting of kidney situations, and the government on top is failing to provide those services after it has done what it has done? And the worst part is that the gold and whatever other resources that are taken through this illegal process, the nation benefits nil, because 99% of this gold get exported through illegal means. And so we are losing revenue from the gold that is extracted.
Yeah.
Our forests is being destroyed. Our water bodies is being destroyed. Our cocoa, the mainstay, has been destroyed. So today, at the level of 976,000 metric tons that was handed over to this government in 2017 when they took over, we are struggling to produce 400,000 metric tons of cocoa today, because we have destroyed many of the lands, or we have blocked farmers from accessing
in fact, I'm going to show you the cocoa bot. We have some graphs to show you what is happening, right? Because the impact of illegal mining has actually been identified as one of the major reasons why we are having a reduction in the cocoa production.
Exactly.
And yes, and we'll show that in a bit. And it's quite worrying, to say the least, because apart from that, the farmers themselves are selling their farmlands to these illegal miners, because they ask themselves, they say, well, they are not getting so much from the cocoa, so they would rather sell to illegal miners.
Yeah.
And we have some of them on video. But this is it. Between 2021 and 2022, the production within that crop year was 683,000 metric tons. Yeah. It dropped by 32% between 2022 and 2023 to 654,000 metric tons. And then dropped further 4.2% to 580,000 metric tons between the 2023-2024 crop season, as we're seeing. It has been projected to drop by another 11.3% as we speak. And this is when we're coming from a time when we had almost 1 million tons.
Exactly. And Alfred, it's not just the tonnage. The quality of our cocoa is now gradually being rejected. We used to get what we call the premium value. Today, we are losing that because of high levels of other contaminants that is found in our cocoa. So this government have just come to supervise and to destroy lives. Look, and that is why I argue that it is about leadership. And I agree with the earlier video you played of the former director of Ghana School of Law, that Ghanaians must act together and kick out this government because they have completely failed. Look, more than 80%.
But you cannot also claim innocence. You see, it's the politicization of this that has always been the issue.
It is not politicization. You have a situation where you have a leadership that is in charge. And over the 8-year period, the resources of the state have been vested in their hands. Amongst it is to see to it that we have clean water. Because we say water is what? Life. That's number one thing. Your body composition is hugely water. Without water, all your cells will be dead. They cannot function. So even your body, every living thing has its huge composition being water. If you have a government that have sat aloof and allow this distraction to happen, if you are calling upon them to be voted out, how is this politicization? Do you want us to vote them in to continue to do what is wrong? Is that what we want? No. We want the solution. And if you look at the data, whether it is economic data, whether it is governance data, whether it is media freedom, whether it is investigative freedoms and what have you, somebody at least did better than what it is that we are having today. And so you can only recommend that someone who did better than what we have today be given the opportunity, not someone who will come, who is there and is destroying it and going around dancing and asking that Mumfa steer no mami. Now we give you the steer and you take us further into the ditch. No, if we speak this way, we should stop saying that it is politicization of the matter. That is the solution, because leadership is part of the problem. And so selecting leadership must be part of the conversation. It must be part of the conversation. At least, I may not speak this way if I were speaking in maybe 2021. I would have pushed for government to do something. I will not speak this way if I were speaking in 2022. I will push for government to do something. But we are in 2024. Few months, 3 months into an election. We need to help Ghanaians to know that the choices they make have consequences.